Once upon a time, in a city with two faces called Ama, where on one side there are tall buildings, money talking, people of affluence seen also amidst gutters, broken dreams, stories and lingering poverty, being washed away by rain. There lived a man. This man sat under the rain, broken, barefoot, and begging with his children, looking hungry with a sad, worried face. The beggar's name was Mr. Paul, and beside him, clutching his hands with cold fingers, were his two children, Daniel and Grace. Mr. Paul, a once happy man now very sad, surviving off hope. Daniel and Grace, his children, hungry, cold, and growing too fast in the wrong environment. This is the story of how a billionaire changed their lives. But it's also the story of how hope, kindness, and humility changed him. This is the story of how their worlds met, not by accident but by purpose. One at the peak of wealth, and the other at the pit of poverty. And how one rainy afternoon changed everything. Ama was a city of contrast. By day it was glamour. By night, it was pain and sadness seen on the faces of desperate people who want to survive. Ama, a city where two worlds meet. It was a Thursday afternoon. The rain was heavy. Not the type that cools, the type of rain that crushes. The clouds gathered like angry elders, and within minutes, rain began to pour. Not drizzle, pouring out its anger and fury on the land of the city of Ama. Mr. Paul sat near a rusted traffic pole with his kids, soaked with rain to the bone. God, if you're still listening. I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. Paul whispered. Their cardboard sign read, "Please help us eat today. God bless you." But no one stopped. No one ever did. Paul wasn't always like this. 2 years ago, Mr. Paul was a secondary school teacher. He loved books. He taught children literature. His favorite book was Things Fall Apart. He believed in education. But the pandemic came. COVID came with lots of problems. Families were desperate. The economy crashed, schools shut down, and so did his life. Paul searched. He knocked on every door in Ama. He took on labor jobs until his back gave in. Then came the final blow. His wife died during childbirth in a hospital due to hospital negligence, with no generator when power went off. The baby didn't make it. Only Paul and the two little ones remained. He lost his job, his house, and then his dignity, one problem at a time. He sold everything just to survive, but still ended up on the street. People ran for cover. Traders packed up. Taxis honked. Children screamed. But at the junction of Victoria Street, one man didn't run. Mr. Paul stood on the cold, wet pavement with his two children, Daniel and Grace, soaked, hungry, and holding a sign that read, "Please help us. We haven't eaten today. God bless you." He had been sitting there for hours. Some people passed and looked away. Some dropped coins without looking. Others told him to get up and go find work. Some shouting at him, "Mr. Man, get up. Go find work to do." But how do I explain to strangers that life can change in just one tragedy? How do I tell them that 2 years ago I was a respected teacher? That my wife and unborn baby died because the hospital had no power? That I lost my job after COVID-19 closed schools in my area? That I tried selling everything, furniture, clothes, books, just to feed my kids? How do I explain to the world that my pride has died? But my children still need to live. The streets of Ama were unkind to the weak. Paul's pride broke. But he couldn't let his kids starve. So he held that cardboard sign. While Paul begged in the rain, another man in another part of the city of Ama was wrapping up a high-level business meeting. His name was Chief Femi Adebanjo, billionaire oil magnate, real estate mogul, philanthropist, and the kind of man newspapers chase. Chief Femi had it all, or so they thought. Behind his smile were the eyes of a man who knew pain. Deep, real pain. He grew up in the slums of Lagos State. Their mother died too during childbirth. Father died early. He and his sister survived on akara and borrowed kindness. He was once a boy who begged for bread with his sister. But one man, a local teacher, noticed him, paid his fees, bought him shoes. That man died before he saw Femi succeed, but his act lived on. Not far from there, inside a bulletproof black Range Rover, Chief Femi was being driven home after a business meeting. His phone buzzed constantly. He had just closed a 4 billion naira land deal. But that day, something felt different, very different. His driver stopped at the traffic light on Victoria Street. Chief Femi looked out the window, bored, until something caught his eye. A soaked, thin man and 2 children with a cardboard sign. "Please help us. We haven't eaten today. God bless you." He looked out the window, he stared, and saw Paul. But it wasn't Paul he saw. It was himself 40 years ago. That look. I know that look. God, that's me. That's me years ago. Paul said silently to himself. He didn't blink. Because suddenly, he wasn't Chief Femi anymore. He was Femi the orphan again. He remembered the days he begged with his sister in front of Mama Tup's shop. He remembered what hunger felt like. He remembered what rain felt like when you had no roof over your head. And in that moment something inside him moved. Chief Femi said just 3 words to his driver. "Stop the car." Femi stepped out into the rain. His bodyguard ran after him with an umbrella, confused. People stared. A billionaire, in Agbada attire, stepping into muddy water in the rain. He walked up to Mr. Paul and knelt beside him. Paul looked up, shocked. "What's your name, brother?" Femi asked. "Paul, sir." "These are your children?" Femi asked. "Yes, sir. They are my everything." "How long have you been here?" Paul swallowed his shame and said, "Months, sir. I tried. But life has been very unkind." Femi looked him in the eye and said, "So was mine. But someone helped me once. That's why I'm here now." He stood up, turned to his assistant and said, "Please get them out of here now. Get them dry clothes. Find them a place in the shelter. Tonight. No excuses." Paul was stunned. He whispered, Why are you doing this?" Mr. Paul asked Mr. Femi. Femi replied, "Because someone once stopped for me. And I promised. The day I become somebody, I won't walk past a child in the rain." And just like that, the rain that was drowning Paul became the rain that washed away his pain. That evening, Paul and his children slept on real beds. They had hot food. Grace cried when she saw a teddy bear in her new room. Daniel, his son, screamed excitedly, "Dad, it's like Christmas." But Femi didn't stop there. Over the next few weeks, Paul was enrolled in a rehabilitation and skill program. The kids started school at a private academy, on full scholarship. Paul started counseling. The trauma of his wife's death, his job loss, the street life, it all began to heal. And then one day, over breakfast with Chief Femi, Paul said something that changed everything. "Sir, all I ever wanted was to teach again. I miss it." Femi smiled. "Then let's help you teach again." With financial support from the Femi Adebanjo Foundation, Paul started a small bookshop called Pages. It sold second-hand books, school supplies, and hosted weekend reading clubs for children in poor neighborhoods. In 6 months, Pages became a community center. Paul was no longer a man begging for food. He was a mentor, teacher, a father, not just to his children but to dozens more. And guess what? He hired 3 other men from the street, men like him, formerly homeless fathers. They formed a network called Storm Rebuilders, helping men get back on their feet. The same city that once ignored Paul. Paul was invited on TV to talk about his. 1 year later, at the Compassion Conference, Chief Femi stood on stage and said, "We often think the poor need our money, but sometimes they just need our memory. They need us to remember that we were once them." He paused and smiled. "Let me introduce you to a man who reminds me of where I came from. A man I'm proud to now call brother, Mr. Paul." Paul walked on stage. The hall erupted in applause. Everyone clapped excitedly. He didn't wear a suit worth millions, but he wore dignity. He said, "1 year ago I was in the rain. Today I help others walk through their storms. Not because I'm strong, but because someone held my hand. Someone believed in me." I would like to say thank you, Chief Femi. And to those watching, this story isn't just about Chief Femi or Mr. Paul. It's about the choice we make when we see someone in need. You may not be able to build foundations, but you can stop, listen, care, share. And that sometimes is enough to save a life. Be the hand in the rain, because kindness can echo forever. It is the rain that turns dust into growth. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe for more intense stories and dramatic moments. Stay tuned for more inspiring tales that resonate with us. Please tell us where you are watching from, so I can give you a hug. Thank you for watching.